Reliance Jio has been enjoying one blockbuster week after another. It's been 6 weeks and 6 big deals cracked. It all began with Facebook, and then we had a bunch of private equity players pouring in money, like Equity Vista Partners, Silver Lake, and others. Now, the latest is the Abu Dhabi based sovereign investor, Mubadala. Now, what's the appeal of Reliance Jio? And what kind of money is coming in? And what can we look forward to over the next 2 to 3 years? I'm going to ask Tushar Gupta. Tushar, could you just kick us off with, first of all, the overview of the investments coming in to Reliance Jio?
So I think everyone in the world is not having a great time, sans Mukesh Ambani, because he's been getting all the money there can be under the sun. So it started with Facebook. Facebook bought a 9.99% stake for rupees 43,500 crore in Reliance Jio. That was the first big investment, a 9.99% stake. This was followed by an investment by Silver Lake Partners. They bought a 1.15% stake for somewhere in the neighborhood of rupees 5,600 crores. Then Vista Equity Partners came up with a 2.32% stake for more than 11,000 crore rupees. Then General Atlantic put in money at 1.34% for rupees 6,500, almost rupees 6,600 crore. KKR had a 2.32% stake for another rupees 11,300 crores. And today, Abu Dhabi state fund Mubadala Investment Co has actually made a very big investment of around 9,000 crore rupees, which will amount to 1.85% stake in Reliance Jio. Now, that's not it. They're already talking to some other sovereign wealth funds in Abu Dhabi and Saudi Arabia too. So more money might be coming in. Together, I think Reliance Jio has sold 19% of its stake for somewhere in the neighborhood of 90,000 crore rupees.
Right, Tushar, it's remarkable. It's like over 87,000 crore of money coming in. Can you just explain to our viewers what is the appeal of Reliance Jio? Why are the big bucks coming in this way?
Yeah,
and is it unprecedented also?
Oh, of course it's unprecedented. You've never heard a telecom giant getting numbers like that. No, to begin with, Reliance Jio, it started in 2016. So if you look at its competitors, which are Airtel, Vodafone and BSNL, it's relatively new. It just started in September 2016 and it has taken together 387 million subscribers, which is a huge number. And the highest, Airtel comes second with 300 million subscribers. So even in terms of number, Jio is more than the population of the United States of America. Now that's one reason. The second reason is Jio is not just a telecom carrier, not just like another telecom network on the market. It's developing into something more than that. It's developing into an array of services. Already it's gone into many digital services. These include Jio Giga Fiber, which is a home broadband service. There's Jio Cinema, where people will have the option to avail a digital movie release on the same day as in the theaters. Jio Music, Jio TV, Jio Health Club, Jio News, Reliance Digital, Jio Engage, Jio Cloud, and even Jio Switch. And these are just some of the services I can remember. So the point is what Jio is actually doing. It's creating a super app, Karan, something like what Tencent did in China with WeChat. This was back in 2011. So what they're trying to do, Jio that is, under the Jio Platforms umbrella, they're trying to bring a lot of apps together, which include utility services like JioMart, which recently began in 200 towns and cities of India, the biggest ever launch for any online delivery service. So they're trying to get all the services a person might need, an urban or a rural Indian might need under one app, from shopping to entertainment. And that is why people are interested in Jio. That is why they see their money growing. For one simple reason, today we have somewhere in the neighborhood of 600 million internet users. 2025, we'll have 1 billion, and that's a huge number. Right now, the smartphone penetration is not as good as it's supposed to be. But 2025, as we get into more cheaper handsets, the economy, revives after the COVID-19 crisis, we'll see a lot of people coming to the smartphone generation. And then, of course, there's the question of 5G. There's the question of Internet of Things, which will be coming up eventually. And Reliance has been making some wonderful preparations for that. So all of these factors, this is what makes Jio Platform really great. And that's where the big money.
Right. Tushar, let me just pick one aspect of that. You spoke about the interest developing around a super app, something like the WeChat in China, which we've known is such a big thing in that country. Are there any lessons to be learned for Reliance Jio from the WeChat story?
So I think in one or more ways, we are trying to mirror the story of China, digital story of China from
Right.
2011. Now, around 2011, a lot of transactions China were actually via cash. The idea of digital payments is actually very recent. So around 2011, 65% of the transactions in China were with cash. Cut to 2017, WeChat has a billion users, almost 1 billion users. In 2017 alone, WeChat Pay coordinated transactions worth $6 trillion within China. And these are just numbers for 2017. 2018 19, it has just grown. Now, what really happened with WeChat? It started out as a chatting app, of course. They developed on the chatting features, they added voice messages, video calls, then they branched it out to social networks, and more features were added with time. What really made WeChat and what will really make Jio Platform also a great super app is the concept of mini programs. That is, Jio Platform will eventually become an enabler. So what happens in the super app? It gains access to all the aspects of your smartphone, which could be the camera, the GPS, the pedometer, the accelerometer, things like that. So once it has access to all the critical hardware of the phone, it becomes an enabler for another apps. For instance, a mini program, which is an app within an app. So for instance, if I launch a cab availing service tomorrow, if I launch my own Uber tomorrow and host it on the Jio platform, you do not have to download my app separately. You can just access it via the Jio ecosystem without having a separate registration, download, or installation. So it becomes an enabler in a sense for local businesses. What if tomorrow I want to sell if I want to sell a handicraft in a certain geography? This is where Jio Platforms will become an enabler, and that is what WeChat did. Now, in 2017, the Apple App Store had around 2.1 million apps, Karan. Now, guess how many how many mini programs or apps within the app WeChat had? It had more than 1 million alone. So, in this way, it has been an enabler for local businesses. It's not just been focused towards the users, as a lot of social media networks in the West are, like Facebook and Twitter, they're more focused towards the users, how user perceive the platform, how they access the platform, how they spend their time on the platform. What WeChat instead did, it created an amalgamation of the app, the users, and the business and the sellers. So it brought together the best of all the worlds, and that is what made it a super app. The same which we'll see with Jio Platforms.
Right. And with the introduction of a new digital currency and stuff, I think things are going to be much more interesting in China. But Tushar, I definitely want to ask you, what do you see as the growth drivers, the big growth factors for Jio Platforms going forward?
Of course, see, what we saw with WeChat was a story customized to China. What will be the big driver for India for Jio Platforms? One, the JioMart. 200 cities and towns, Karan, that's a huge number. Big basket grocers, they haven't been able to register even 1/4 of the numbers yet, respectively. Amazon Pantry does somewhere in the neighborhood of 148 cities and towns. But then the delivery takes a while because the last mile delivery is still a challenge. So JioMart, what they're doing, they're now banking on their network of more than 11,000 retail stores and 50 warehouses spread across India. And they're also creating 300 to 500 smaller shops and stores, the Karyana stores that is, to ensure that the last mile delivery is pretty sorted. So what will happen with JioMart? They will actually get a big push in the e-commerce business. That's one. The second thing is the Giga Fiber, the Jio broadband service. Now, bundled broadband service is a fairly new concept in India. Reliance is working on that. Already, I think there was a media report recently that Reliance is now offering a year-free subscription of Disney Hotstar with their broadband plans. So bundles like these will actually incline people towards using Jio broadband more. The Jio SIM already has 387 million subscribers. The number will grow. The local stores, and then lastly, the mini programs, the apps within the app. What I'm really excited for looking at Jio, because Mukesh Ambani has made this statement often. He says he wants to bring online the farmers of India. He wants to bring online the MSMEs of India. So in a way, he's going to be the digital enabler for these farmers who may want to sell the goods online. For instance, I'm sitting in Chandigarh. A farmer in Punjab may want to sell his produce digitally. Jio Platform could be an enabler for that. I'm sitting in Chandigarh. Someone in Haryana would want to use Jio Platform as a digital enabler to sell the products he's manufacturing in his MSME. This is where Jio Platforms could enable for a certain geography. And this is where the big drive will come from, because Mukesh Ambani has been very particular about this. It's not just about getting e-commerce online or gaming online or cinema online. He wants to get the small businessmen online. This is where he wants to be an enabler, and this is where the biggest growth will come from.
Right. And Tushar, obviously, global players think that Reliance Jio can be one of those players who can drive the wave of digital transformation in India. But there is also now talks going on. I think there was a news report that spoke about a possible deal between Amazon and Airtel. And I think there's a significant stake to be had there, according to the report. What do you make of that deal?
So yesterday evening, there was some reports, I think it started with Reuters. They said that Airtel was actually considering selling a stake somewhere in the neighborhood of 5%, worth $2 billion to Amazon. Now, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon is actually interested in partnering with Airtel, because Amazon has its own e-commerce business known as Amazon Pantry. It has a lot of local sellers. And Airtel, of course, it has 300 million users. And even though it has less users than Jio, the average revenue per user for Airtel is greater than that of Jio. So in a sense, Airtel has all the high value customers. So of course, partnering with something like Amazon for a lot of services, because Amazon offers a lot of streaming services, a lot of software enterprise solutions like AWS and all that, would be beneficial. But Airtel, very much in the morning, denied any such partnership. Even Amazon refused to comment. But as they say in this business, never say never. Because if Amazon and Airtel come together, I just say this hypothetically because, of course, Airtel has refuted any such partnership for now. But hypothetically, if Airtel and Amazon decide to come together, they could actually be a very nice challenger to the Jio Facebook ecosystem. That would be very interesting, because people will have two alternatives to choose from. Of course, the way Jio is moving, they have more services on board. But Amazon and Airtel, the way, if they can come together, it will be something to look forward to. There were actually rumors about Google also looking for a stake in Vodafone and things like that.
Right.
So everyone is now thinking about the super app idea, because there's so much to be done with the smartphone. People cannot have apps for everything. So why not go for a seamless integration, the Jio way, the WeChat way? And of course, companies like Airtel, companies like Vodafone, perhaps someday even BSNL, they will follow.
Right. It would be so exciting to have these big players. I mean, finally, the beneficiary would be the country of India. Thank you so much, Tushar, for your insights.
Thanks, Karan.